Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Nadine O, and I'm here with Don Stephens, and welcome to part 2 of the Dark Hedges, a landscape drawing with graphite or charcoal, whichever is your pleasure. How are you doing today? We are really, really excited to dive back into a reference photo from a trip that I took to Ireland last month. So this is going to be a journey, no pun intended. And the photo is, the image actually is featured in Game of Thrones. So for all those Game of Thrones fans, yes, we're making that approach. And if you look, you can see, the other way. Don has his up, and that's where we started last week. So we are hoping to hear from you in the chat. I have the chats up, so if you comment, please say hi. Let us know you can see us and hear us. And we're looking forward to this. I am not having coffee this morning. I'm having A&W root beer, 0 sugar. Probably is not the best thing, but it's a lot.
I have no comment. That's on you. 0 or none, it's still not good for the body. So I'll let you have your root beer and you do what you do. Just know that that's not me. Don's always on that turmeric, that coffee, that raspberry tea, that hibiscus tea. Food is medicine to me, everybody. So every second of the day, I'm trying to get it in. Water too. Water all day. When people ask me, hey, how's your skin so clear? I say it's the Schuylkill Punch that I'm drinking.
Schuylkill Punch.
Yeah.
I love that.
Drop a little lemon in it and you're okay. It's just that people don't like no taste, they say.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're turned out on the sugar taste or the kick for the caffeine.
Right.
Whatever it is, that's your own vice. You have to work through it, everyone. But just don't ask when things go wrong. Don't ask, how did it get wrong? Just go backwards in time and look at your flesh management and you'll see. Hey, coffee's done for me.
Don's coffee is done. Woo!
I'm having hazelnut again. Hazelnut is my favorite, everybody. So today I decided to have the hazelnut with what they call the golden milk inside of it, which is turmeric and almond milk together with pepper and cayenne. And it gives you a nice twang taste and a nice burn to the chest. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So what you guys seeing up there from me, if it's pinned, is that board that we was doing last week. So last week I was totally on the board. And like I told you guys, I'll catch up to you because now I can spin you over to our board here and I can bend the camera down a little bit. And we are right there. Okay, everyone. Bend it a little bit more. And I'm good to go. All right, so that's where we're at as far as what we started on the eraser board. The stuff that we talked about in the background and all that good stuff. Other thing is have your photograph near you, everybody. Either print it out or on your laptop or on your screen or your home computer. Whichever one it is, everybody. All right. Kind of dim the light is, you know what I mean? But I'll deal with it. You want to have your tortillions out. You want to have your paper towels out, everybody. Your sandpaper, if you got it. All that good stuff, everybody, especially your tortillions. Because that's going to help you a whole bunch this time around, everybody. You're really going to enjoy, how would you say, spinning off there. Oh, look, I can't find those. But what I will do, I go to my other backups that I got. Because sometimes everybody, you want to keep them separate. You want to keep the charcoal separate from the graphite because you don't want it to intermingle. And then if you do what I do, which is both of them together, then you can have what you would call one where it touches both realms. You still there?
Oh, I'm still there. I was trying to figure out why don't you want to have them together? Because I think I had them in a box together. I got a little, so I want to separate them.
Once again, it's based upon when you use them. So if I'm using them for graphite alone, I wouldn't want the charcoal ones to get interfused with the graphite ones that I'm using.
Okay, got it.
So all I would do is get a Ziploc bag and mark it graphite and put the ones that I use in graphite in the graphite bag. The one that I use for charcoal, I put in the charcoal bag. Some of us won't do that. So you'll have a mixed one then. But you want to try to keep them separate. When you keep them separate, you get a cleaner thing, you're more efficient, more fun. Yep. So what I'm doing is how would you say, putting in some more of that background stuff. You have clouds that's up here. You have one big old cloud that's pretty much covering the whole area because you see that blue in the tops and everything else. So I put it in as a dark. Yeah. And then you get the smudging, rubbing, and erasing. Have fun. Let's go.
Smudging and rubbing and erasing.
Yeah. Some people probably already have the branches in. I'll wait to put the branches in until I get my background together. When I have my background together the way I want to, then that's when I go head on and start penciling in all the other stuff. But some people are going to move the way they want to, and that's okay. Move the way you want to. Just know what your process is. If you want things to come forward, yeah. You got me pinned up there, Nadine?
Let me get you pinned up there. Sorry about that. I was busy watching you.
Yeah. But you got to keep me pinned. So,
I got you
when they
pinned.
do the Patreon,
I was making faces. I was being a little bit silly. Sorry, y'all. Don is now should be pinned.
Yeah, because that's the reason why everybody wants to do. They want to, how would you say, see how to do it.
Yep, absolutely.
So then what I did was everybody, I used my paper towel. I rubbed some of the graphite that I have on the tabletop on another piece of paper. And then I started smudging with that. You see, put a little bit on the paper up there. And now I can get it like smooth movements there that I want, you see? So I can do it above up here too as well. I can rub some on the paper here. Put some material on the paper above it or on a scrap piece of paper. Take my paper towel, I can rub it right in that stuff there. If you notice, it's on the paper towel now, and now I can really use it and smooth things out and start to draw with the piece of paper towel. You see? Let's move that clip out the way. Yep, and I got a bunch of clips, everybody, that helps me hold things together. I suggest you do the same, try to outfit your studio with the things that is going to work for you. Put in that lighter tone in the background at the bottom. So we can start feeling like it's in distance and everything. Yeah, all this stuff in here. See how I work my way around. You see, I might hold off and leave my shadows to last. But now what I'm doing is you're filling in the grass areas here, you see? Right in between the tree, go left or right. Some of you may go up and down, that's cool. But if you want it to seem like it's laying down more, I found that left or right movements make things seem like they're laying down more and mimic the terrain more. So yeah. If you zoom in on the picture, there's a little grass hill here. That's right in this area here. And then it shows you how the land is rolling back from where Nadine was standing to take the shot. You see? Yeah. Do a little bit more diffusing or smudging or blending of my clouds in the background in between the trees. Because for me, if you ask me, I try to get people to work in those background and what we would call negative spaces first before you throw your next thing that's going to come forward. And from what you had asked,
Hey, Don, I lost your audio. All right, everybody, stand by. We're gonna find out what's going on. I lost audio from Don. So while you're standing by, continue to work. Mine is a bit of a mess, but until then, we're gonna figure out. Just keep working. Keep working. Don is gonna try to pop up and join us again. Everything looks okay. Leave a comment in the comment section. Make sure that you can hear me, see me, and hear me. Okay. We really do appreciate your feedback. Definitely. So, I don't know, folks. This was a beautiful picture to take, but I don't know. I'm trying to put in the background like Don mentioned. So we want to keep going with that. Or maybe I can, here, let me see. And can you guys see that? I hope you can see it. I'm gonna try to put it up so you can see it a little better. This is my easel. It was gifted to me. You don't have to have a big easel like this, but it just so happens that a dear friend gave this to me. So let me see if I can pop this in like that. But this is like this, it's not working. Okay. I know what to do. Stand by. Stand by. And let me see what's going on here. So tell me, what if you're watching this, how do you I'm sending Don a message, and I'm also, let me see if I can raise this up a bit. Is that better? Yeah, it's better. Okay, I know this is kind of small. So sandpaper, I don't know. I did it too dark up here. I almost want to erase it. So I don't know. I will tell you, technology, man, technology is like so frustrating sometimes because we try to give the best, and things happen, so please bear with us. Because Don really drops the knowledge, and shares with us some points with approaching doing these kinds of things. Now, I haven't heard from Don yet. I'm hoping to hear from him soon. So please hang tight, keep drawing. Okay. Now, what Don told you about not mixing the charcoal. Oh, I had all my charcoal in this container labeled charcoal, and it's a real mess. And probably the other thing I shouldn't have done was put the chalk. I shouldn't have put the chalk in there because the chalk is pretty dirty too. So I think it's probably worth noting not to mix them so that you can have it clean. But these are only little things that I've learned. And mind you, I'm just a novice, but I really do appreciate the experience of collaborating with Don to get you guys to create. So I hope everyone is tuned in. Anyone that wants the reference photo, what I want you to do is to send me a message in Facebook. If you're not a Facebook member and you're joining me in YouTube, you can leave a message in the chat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my email. If you want a copy of the reference photo, you can then reach out to me and I will attach it. I will send it to you. So I'm going to put a message for that. Okay. All those who are interested. Okay, here's Don. Let's see what happened. He's interested in. Okay, so for all those who are interested in a copy of the reference photo of the Dark Hedges, please email me at, this is easy, y'all, you are not done yet at gmail.com, because you are not done yet. Okay, so that's why I'm doing that. So it's you are not done yet at gmail.com. And if you have any other questions, also you can reach out to me and about any other images that we use from previous sessions. You can let me know and I'll see about getting that out to you. It is only used for personal use. These are my photos. And I am more than happy to share them with you. Now, Don's, he's getting his audio set up. So we are going to continue with working on here. As you notice, I put a little too much darkness over here. So I just want you to know, we just keep working on that. And it's okay if you're like, I didn't see the first one. So if you're a Facebook member, what I want you to do is, or a Facebook group member is, actually what I want you to do is to go over to the page, and then go to the featured section and scroll through, and you should see last week's session. Check that out. Don gives us an approach. He does it on the eraser board first, so that you have an idea how to approach something massive like this. When I say massive, in my head, I'm thinking, this is a massive drawing, but not really if you just break it down. At least that's what I have received from spending time sharing these sessions, which are really for you and your growth, observing, creating, and just exploring the whole aspect of drawing and painting and things like that. So this seems like it's a big, big deal, you know, because we started thinking about the horizon line, which we discussed last week, and that everything is going into the center. And here's the thing. I really am looking forward to exploring and getting better through repetition of how to show movement, how to show, let's see here, he's trying again, how to show when things are far away to the things that are closest to you. And as an artist, as we all are artists, the approach of making that happen, giving you the feel that there is someone way in the distance and something close up, like these trees right here. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about Don's approach. But
It's not Don's approach, it's how you observe. Remember, I'm coaching Nadine. I don't know where all this other stuff is coming from, but I'll say it the way it needs to. No worries. All it is, everybody, it's not Don's approach. It's not Don's idea. It's the way you see as a human being. That's where these 5 steps come from. A lot of you get confused when you send me comments and things like that. You think it's my philosophy. It is not my philosophy. It's based upon how you see as a human being. That's just fact. You know what I mean? How you see, you saw it, just take the shot that intrigued you. Line, shape, form, light, and surface. All of that intrigues you every day.
Yeah,
so
it did.
It's not.
Yeah,
and
it did.
That's why I know it did, because you're a human being. Your eyeballs in the front of your head, your nose underneath your eyes. This is what I've been saying for weeks in and weeks out for the whole past 2 to maybe 3 years we've been doing this. I need for everybody to understand that now. This is not Don's philosophy. This is how you live as a person, as a being. This is how you see things. This is how you navigate. This is how you buy things. This is how you know your emotions. How do you know somebody's emotions if you don't look at the edges of their face and see what their eyebrows is doing, see what their cheekbones is doing? How is that my philosophy then at that point? Not my philosophy. You have to observe as a human being more. Look like you're frozen. You frozen?
Am I frozen?
Yeah, you're frozen.
Okay. On the feed, I'm not frozen.
All right. Well, did you pin me up? Let's go. Let's keep going, and I'll keep on giving you guys the idea.
You
so
bet.
We can come out of that thing that a lot of us do. Like I run into a lot of arrogance a lot of times, just because people say they think they know. When you give them something that's counter to that, people get upset. The emotions come. I say to you then that you have just encountered the full extent of what line, shape, and form, light, and surface can do. If it's not true, then you wouldn't buy the things you buy. You wouldn't engage the things you engage. The elite wouldn't make the things they make if line, shape, form, light, and surface wasn't true. So that's why I try to tell people it's not my philosophy. It's how you live as a human being, how you interact with society. I get a lot of people that'll tell me, oh no, that's your philosophy. I'm like, oh no, it's not.
But you can go back in time and see Aristotle and people before even them talking about this. You got Dogons talking about it. How did they see the things they see? How did the ancients see the things they saw? How did they make the things that they made? Line, shape, form, light, and surface. It's a systemic thing. It's the problem with the human being believing it. That's all. So that's why you create, so you can come closer to that idea. You know, some people want to start from the front and start filling in. Okay, you can do that. Do it all you want to, but then look at what you're going to be yielding. Are you going to yield your best, how would you say, image that you wanted to see? Or are you going to come close to what's there? Probably not. But you may feel comfortable with it. It may be subjective. You see, this is where all these other terms come from. They get everybody caught up rather than just seeing what is there. This is the terrain. If you start filling in everything from the front, it's going to make it more work in between here to make it seem like that's flat. If your mission is to make us believe that this is actually outside, then you might want to take, how would you say, some of those suggestions and work in that way. If not, if your mission is just to get work done and you care less about what somebody else says because you're having fun to do what it is you want to do, then go, rip and run, have fun, enjoy. But just don't get upset when things don't look the way you want them to look or the way you imagine them they would look. So just try to take a suggestion or two, that's all. Most people like to fight with the suggestions. I'll let you fight with the suggestions until you see it. You have to apply them to see them. You have to go out and search around you. That's why I say everything's around you. You asking me, that's what I tell people. I just had another 10 students that I helped to get into art schools. They wanted to just get into 1 or 2 art schools. I got them into 15. Why? Because everything that we're talking about here is what the schools want to see. You're a human being. Line, shape, form, light, and surface. That's all we want to see. Even when you're thinking you're doing this abstract thing. All we want to see is line, shape, form, light, and surface. How do you apply that? What's the strategy to make us believe that? That's what people ask. But then, like in the park, when I'm in the park, people say they want that, but then all of a sudden, what happens? Everybody wants to tell you their philosophy. So I find it comical, because if more people would do more time creating, they would see some of these things and they would go, oh, I already saw that. I'm not going to ask that, or I'm not going to say that. You see? So you see how I'm working on the branches now, from the background coming forward.
Yeah.
People ask you, how is your pieces looking so dramatic and all that good stuff? And I say the very things that I'm telling you guys now. Do people believe it? Some people don't. And they have to go on a hard quest, creative quest to find it. And when they finally find it, they say, I don't know why I was debating, Don. I go, well, that's your human nature. That's what we do as human beings. It's called consonance dissonance. You know what I mean? You don't want to believe it, but it's okay. The other one is when people get a little bit of, I would say, functional working with things. Now everybody wants to be the professor. So I have that a lot during my week too. People are trying to tell me what to do. I said, well, how are you going to do that? And they said, easy, because I can do this, that, and the other. I said, okay, well, let's go out into the terrain and see who's going to give you $50. And then they get quiet. Why? Because they're looking at their surviving with their pinching, you see?
Right.
With that whole quest on a person, like, what if you had to depend upon every drawing that you did? Every time you touch paper, what if you had to depend upon that energy to put more energy in your situation?
Yeah.
You see,
I'd
most
be
people
stressed.
well, a lot of you would be. And then people ask me, well, Don, how come you don't stress and stuff? It's because I'm doing what I said I was going to do.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to act like I'm something that I'm not.
Mhm.
My background proves that. And all I want to do is create all day. So I know every time I touch, something has to happen economically somewhere. So with a lot of people, when you have a person like that, how could you tell that person what to do? If that person is here to give you some suggestions, not to tell you what to do, suggestions. Notice the difference? Yeah. I thought when people tell you I'm going to tell you what to do, or rather I'm going to give you a suggestion. That's what I would say.
Mhm.
Because the suggestion leaves it open for me to have a discourse with you, not to shut it down, to show you, hey, here's some possibilities. Did you try this? Did you try that? You know? Because most of you have certain things in darkness in your piece that I would ask you, why do you have that in darkness now, so early? If we got to work, how would you say, to build up the depth of scale?
Mhm.
So if you trying to make it look like it's scary and all that good stuff, you might have to rework your idea of movement across the surface. You know, because then now you can see where certain branches don't come any higher than certain points. You would put a line to see where that would go. The other branches up here are going off and out this way. So I would make a small branch that represents that branch moving in that way to touch this tree up here. And now you'll probably see why I suggested everybody work in that way, because now you'll be able to separate your background from your foreground and everything will start moving. And once you get the background together the way that you want to, or the way you want it to be perceived, then you can move forward, I would say. So I'm just having some fun putting a little bit of darks here and there. Some of you may take it a little bit more serious. I'm using graphite. I'm going through some of the marks that I made previously in other drawings. So you bring those sketch marks and things into life into this one. Each piece is showing you something. Each piece is teaching you a new thing. So with each success, or what you would call a success in the piece, you carry it forward to your next piece. You don't just forget it. Most of you just forget it. Most of you don't go back and look at the other videos. So go look at the other videos and you'll see most of all the marks and everything that's gone on. If you think we haven't covered color and things like this, go back in time, look at these videos and you'll see we dealt with watercolors, pen and inks, ballpoint pens, markers. We dealt with the size of scale of things from this size where I'm doing it, 1824, all the way down to 9x12. We talked about how to rip down a piece of paper, talked about spaces where to go to get cheap paper or the cheap supplies or alternative supplies and things like this. So when I get certain emails, if I don't answer, it's because I know that you're not doing what it is you're asking of me, giving more. Give yourself more. Go look, go do the research, look through the page, look at some of the older videos, and you'll see. You know, you'll see. That's what I would say. You know? So in here in this area starts that whole idea of the trees and the branches. You see, I can start that area there, but then I may want to put a couple of marks in here to look like movements of where that light area is in between the trees there. You see, and smudge them light. Don't smudge them very heavy. I want them to be real light. So then when I come back and erase some of that out, it'll be truly in the background and it'll feel like an upper atmosphere idea. All I'm doing is mimicking those tones in the back. And if you're looking at the screen, you can notice it's starting to feel like it's going into space. You should be able to see that on yours too, everybody. Start having that feeling of things feeling like it's moving in space. Edges darker, stopping them at certain points, looking from left to right. Now you're just darkening in stuff. Darkening more and more, more and more. Noticing where the branches are going, developing each branch on the way out, each trunk of the branch, showing the darknesses on the inside or however you're seeing the darknesses. Remember, this is just a group draw along, so if you don't want to do it in the way that I'm doing it, it's okay, it's fine. Carry on the way you feel. But just know, take the suggestions, even in the abstract world, if we used to do this in our other style, like how we did the goat, in our minimalist style or idea, or your deconstructive drawing of this scene, you'll be able to do the same thing. So go ahead on and look at that one when we deconstructed the goat and see how you would deconstruct drawings and simplify them and things like that. That's how you would get the minimalism. That certain type of abstract style where less means more. Now, if you hear it, you see it. With me, I'm taking my time, placing my branches in, not rushing. You may hear a lot of scratching and stuff in the background. You know what I mean? So that's other people working in the background. Down here, just looking, and when I get to this point here, I'm looking from left to right in here in the photograph to say what's aligning. I got another tree over here. That's right in front of this young lady. Up. There's a darkness here. And I'm just mimicking these movements. In here, there's another couple of little darknesses in here. But all of this is shrubbery down here, so I can make little ovalettes. So if you notice, I'm making little marks to mimic the areas where I'm at. And then as I go, I'm smudging and rubbing my way out. I'm showing where those darknesses are. I'm showing where the light are too as well. But once again, you'll have people that'll tell you or try to say, well, no, that's not the way I see it. And I want to go, fine. My eyeballs is not yours. You're right. Exactly. But that does not mean that we're seeing something different. We're all looking at the same picture that Nadine took in Ireland. That is no difference. Then the difference is in what? The regurgitation. How would you say, mimicking this idea of Ireland through Nadine's camera, through Nadine's mind. Notice how I come to each branch and I'm coming up and I'm following that branch where it is. And they all are coming towards that middle and doing that arching thing that you said you wanted to understand how to make us be that movement. Well, this is how you do it, taking your time. Yeah, you could take the charcoal and just obliterate it and then use your eraser and erase out those lights. Yeah, but then that wouldn't be this then. That would be your deconstructive idea or your minimal idea. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You see, because then now you got to say where certain branches are coming from certain trunks of trees, and then now this one is coming this way in the front here, because all of these are connected into this one. This one is coming this way, it's kind of thick, and then it breaks down into a smaller one, like so. Yeah, there it is. You see the art starting to happen, Nadine?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in yours, if you take the same type of time, be patient with yourself, and really work your way out of the scene, you know? You can work back and forth, but when you want us to believe depth more so than flatness, you gotta have a process to your movements to make the eye believe it, because it's based upon the overlaps coming out. You know, this is the most information you're gonna get for a free class, everybody. So you better enjoy it.
You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, buddy. You know, some people just said they liked on my pictures for Abington. You know, those kids' parents are paying anywhere in between $150 to $275 for their kids to have an experience. And all of them are greatly appreciated. I do the adult classes, it's anywhere from $250 to maybe $375.
And
Guys,
well worth it.
No, I'm not worried about if it's well worth it. It's up to you guys. I know what it's worth, but it's up to the individual that's taking the experience to understand that for themselves.
Right.
I've had people that say, I don't believe I'm getting enough. And then all of a sudden they wind up watching me on videos and they're realizing, oh man, I was getting it. It's just that in certain environments, you're not going to get a whole bunch because the whole group is not, how would you say, advanced to that point. So if the whole group is not advanced, how could you talk about advanced things without everybody being abreast? You know, that's what a lot of people don't understand. And, you know, some people think because they took classes at certain institutions that makes them an expert now. Well, really, it doesn't. You know what I mean? It just makes you an avid novice.
Right.
You know? But you have to ask yourself to reach that point where you can feel as if you can do, or some people say, why do you think you can do that, Don? It's because I live an autonomous lifestyle, as they say, right? And in that autonomous lifestyle, you get private contracts outside of having to work a 9 to 5. So the minute that you get paid for your, I would say, novelties, it moves from a novelty to a profession. The minute a person gives you $1, now if they give you $1 in multitudes, then yeah, you're established as a professional in that particular region that you're in. So people say, oh, that's the only way you're really a professional. Why, yes. Other people say it's based upon going to schools, getting the certifications, and then boom, you're a professional. But I argue, because then are you really living by what it is you went to school to get trained by in order to eat? Amazing concepts when you look at them after a while. So then look, everybody, the smaller branches. I'm doing all the thicker branches first. Then I'll come back and I'll do the smaller branches. You know, your nervous system looks the same way as a tree. Same way, everybody, if you never ever thought about that or ever, you know, contemplated that idea. We got 2 trees over here, so we got the one behind here. That's the branches going up this way and then this way here. And what you notice, if you follow those main branches first, it makes it easy to do those small branches secondary. You know, so if I'm here, I'm looking at this tree in the photograph, then I'm looking left or right to see what's in alignment with that area. And I'm using graphite, everybody, so, you know, I'm using the ebony layout pencil, I'm using powdered graphite, you know. Yeah, put it in. Anybody else on here with us? Nobody else?
Miss Paulette is here with us. Yes, with her awesome support and you know, joining us for this group draw along. Also, there's I want to say a young artist. I don't know the age of the artist, is Yo J Hudson Stream, muralist out of DC, checking us out on Twitch. And he was actually, or I don't know if it's a he or a she, so I apologize, Yoj. Was helpful to let us know that our stream looked okay on their end. So definitely appreciate that support. Hey, Don, what do you say to those that are like, might be struggling a little bit?
You're only struggling because you're fighting yourself. Stop doing what you think you need to do and just look at what needs to be done. And if you're talking about yourself, stop doing what you think you need to do rather than just looking at what's there and mimicking. Sometimes that's your issue. You'll start battling and thinking that, you know, something else has to go down when you look at the photograph, you're following the photograph. You know what I mean? If you're saying the tree is here, you got to look at that tree that you did that's mimicking the one that's there and look across. When you look across, something is aligning over here. You know? Are you having a difficulty?
I'm fighting with myself right now. To be honest, and I was just curious if anybody else was feeling like that.
Well, okay, you know, like each of these classes, like the art that we do, it's very challenging because sometimes I'll be like, I can't do this, you know, but I just push on and then, you know, you'd be surprised, you know, you got it. And because I don't look at the picture, I don't have any, no, you know, I can't be, you know, focused on perfection because I don't, you know, look at the picture.
I don't know why you're even using the word perfection.
Well, I mean,
no, I gotta let everybody know that word perfection, I despise it because it's got everybody caught up nowadays.
Well, see, in the case of Nadine, she saw the picture, and that's what she's focusing on, capturing.
You're all doing the same thing. Y'all all are looking. Your closet perfectionist is coming out, and you don't even know it.
Okay, okay, let me say that. But see, with me, because I'm not looking at the picture, I'm looking at your picture.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
That's what
That's the problem, because you can't see what it is that I'm looking at to follow. You
Right,
gotta look at the photograph.
Well, I'm following you, so therefore I don't
know. See how you see, you're not hearing me. That's what everybody does everywhere I go. I'm gonna say it again. I am following the photograph. If you are following me, you're not going to get it. Why? Because you're not looking at which am I pulling from. So if you look at the branch, I'm looking at the branch, you'll understand why I'm making a certain movement. Right now, you're thinking I'm making them just to make them because you're just looking at the results. But you got to look at the source material to see the whys. Why is that mark going there? It's going there because that in the photograph that we're following, that tree is moving in that way. So if that tree is moving in that way, I'm not making it up. I'm making a movement to match what it is that I'm seeing. This is what you guys got to see. Now, if you're not doing it that way, you're subjectively. Now, what you're doing now is your subjective view of the photograph. You're seeing it through me. And you're using your guesstimations through me. Rather than getting the first hand, looking at the photograph with me to see the whys.
Well, I tell you, if I looked at that photograph and stuff like that, I would be more trying to do it like Nadine, you know, you trying to do it like the photograph and you're kind of frustrated with
once again, you guys have a hard time taking suggestions. I love you both and I love everybody, but it's a human thing. I'm doing it in the park. I'm doing it with kids. And in our society today, we having a real bad problem with this. Because it's all about what I think, what I need to think, I think, rather than actually observing and seeing things for what they are.
Well, when you're playing the piano or you're acting.
We're not playing the piano right now. We're not playing the piano right now. And even when you're playing the piano, you look at the notes, the instructor shows you the key, and you stroke the key. When you don't get it good, the instructor comes in, stands or sits next to you and strokes the key with you. Put your hand in that position.
Yeah.
It's no different than what I'm doing. It's no different than what I do if I was in person with you. You can ask people when they have me in person, that's what I'm doing. I come to your page and I show you what's going on.
Right.
And
but
then you go, oh.
Perfection is alive with that piano teacher, with that music. You got to do that stuff perfect, you know.
One more time, it's not about perfection. I don't care. You can keep saying it all you want to. That's going to give you an aneurysm, heart attacks, constipation, that idea of perfection. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to do it to you. And I sit back and I laugh at people because that perfectionist, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But the struggle is real, Don.
Perfection is repetition, trial and error. Do it again, do it again. Nothing is done being perfect. Watch out for people that say they're perfect. That's a walking problem.
They're crazy, right?
I'll let you say that. I'll say it's a walking problem. Perfection is a lie. It's going to get the human race in big, big trouble. Repetition is the key. Do it again. Observation is the key. It's the key. The more you ignore it and try to put in place what you think you need to do rather than doing what you need to do, that's the problem right there. We get caught. Figure a way out, and then now when you're trying to figure a way out, now it's everything else besides what your observations are. And that's pretty much how a lot of things work out in the human world. All the time. You know, I can get philosophical with it. You can talk about the philosophies. And some people think it's because I don't talk about those things that it's not there and I'm some type of savant or something. So I want you guys to understand that I deal with these philosophies. I just deal with them personally to try to, how would you say, figure out what to say to the next human being or individual that might have a dilemma in observation. Notice I didn't say wrong. I didn't say right. I said dilemma, a situation that needs to be resolved. Like some of you may have the roads overly leaning rather than, how would you say, paying attention to that idea of perspective that we talked about a while ago. So I think a lot of people need to go back and rewatch some of the videos so they can get some of those pointers that we had earlier on.
Absolutely. I think they missed a lot.
Yeah, I know I did. You know, I walk with it every day. I go outside, I'm looking like this. When I'm indoors, I'm looking at things like this. When I cook for myself, I'm eating like this. When I put my clothes on, I'm looking at things like this. When I take my clothes to the laundry or to the cleaners, I'm looking at everything in this way. When somebody brings me cake or snacks and stuff, I'm looking at it the same way. If something doesn't look right, I ask the person, hey, what did you cook this with? And if they get upset, I don't take it.
Yeah.
Get upset behind a question, behind me observing something that you created, then I don't need to partake in it then at that point because it might hurt me.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing in drawing. How am I going to get to the end result that I want to get to make the impact, to make a person react? Oh, ah, you know what I mean? All these things when people let you know when something's good to them. So then what do I have to do? I have to educate myself on what human beings need to see to be attracted. Then I got to look at others that have done that process and see if I can simplify it for myself, or is that information. And what you find is we still using the same information from the, well, I'll stop at the 1300s just for conversation's sake. So we still using information, I would just say painterly wise, drawing wise, that was used since the 1300s.
Right.
Illusionist ideas, dimensional ideas, you know what I mean? Surface ideas, all this good stuff. Mimicry of land, mimicry of flesh, mimicry of every form that's in the third terrain. You know, the alchemist. Yeah, watch that movie again or read that book, and you really get an understanding of when you're creating what you are and what you're doing. So, you know, have fun. The other thing is, if you're saying where the sun is, like my clouds are right here, right? And a lot of that light is coming from this area. So if it's coming from this area, I can use it as a point to start this stuff for the shadows here if I wanted to. And these would come across like so. If I'm using this area as a light source, that's where the sun is, then these branches would come this way. You see, most of all the branches, if I come from the other tree, then you have other ones that come from here. So then you're following those, you see? And then as you follow them, if you follow the other suggestion, which was take your color photograph and make it black and white, it makes it easier to translate a graphic image that way. I mean, that's why you should love this era of photography, because you can, it really becomes a wrench now. It's really a power wrench. I can zoom in on it. I don't have to go to the dollar store and pay, you know what I mean, $100 to $200 for 30 rolls of film, possibly. You know what I'm saying? And then keep it in a file cabinet. Like I still got my file cabinet with some of my photographs here in my studio that I used to do from the 90s all the way through to 2001 was the last time I did. Everything after that was digital now, whether it be on a mini disc, a full disc, or a thumb drive. You see how I started changing? Now it's just on the phone and I Wi-Fi it to everything. Right. Or it's on the camera. Like I got when certain other cameras don't work that I got, you take this slim shot with you, or the power shot as they call it. And they're real good cameras to take your shots to as well, once you get to understand the device. A lot of times people don't take the time to get to learn the device. That's all it is.
Excuse me, I'm looking at the photo now, and I kind of like see exactly the places that Nadine is questioning too, because this tree has like very, very fine branches. I mean, you know, it's like in a.
So you wasn't listening to me when I said do the larger branches first and then do the smaller
branches first, but then you said look at the picture. So I found the picture, and okay, the larger branches, they kind of course, are going to be a little easier than those.
I'm not worried about easy and hard, Miss Paulette. I'm trying to get you to see the suggestion. You're asking me about the smaller branches, right?
Right. I
said to everyone earlier on and throughout, deal with the larger branches first and where they go. From the inside in here, working your way out. I said it 6 times, I'll say it again. You see it even in my piece. I'm dealing with the larger branches first. That's all I'm dealing with first. The smaller branches come off of those larger branches.
Right.
Follow the larger branches first. I'm already going to slide right into the smaller ones to fill in the space.
Right.
So your question was?
Well, I'm did some erasure and then I'm working on it.
I mean, don't get offended or anything. I'm just trying to tell you, like when you're dealing with art and dealing in this layman's term, it's a blue collar situation.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not offended at all. I'm just like,
Okay, cool. So then what I'm saying to you is look for those. If you look here by the person that's standing there, you look across them, that's one of your largest trees in here. You follow that tree up and you'll notice it's taking up and covering all the trees in that area, and it's making it look like all the smaller branches is coming out of that one branch.
right.
But it's not. Because if you look at the next one that's in front of that one, you'll see these branches are coming up to connect with these.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So it's an overlap as you're coming out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I guess the photo does help.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, following the photo does help. Why? Because that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I saw
So
that.
if you're truly following me, then you're following the photograph too.
Right. And I see the photo, that tree that's further back on the right-hand side. And it's got like 2 branches, so it's kind of like on the left, right side.
Well, that was in the middle ground.
Yeah.
So you got a branch, you got one that's here, and then you got the big one that's next to the person.
Yeah.
You got the smaller one that's halfway in between. Both of these are coming up, and then at one point, they're starting to look like one tree. They're not.
Right.
Zoom in on the picture and you'll see it.
Yeah.
That's another reason why this era is good for photography. All your devices, you can zoom in
Right.
to identify what's in front of you on that screen. When you get to a certain point, it's going to digitize, yes, but you want to get to that point right before it digitizes so you can see things. Then you would move around that area to see things. I'm giving you guys big hints, man.
No doubt.
Big hints.
Well, you don't have to worry about us taking your
Yeah, I do.
taking your.
What are you talking about, Miss Paulette? Everybody that watches the video uses this stuff, and I've got people sending me stuff saying I won an award, Don, or I won a show with your idea.
No, so you don't have to worry about us taking over your little job because we're still trying to get.
That's not a little job, because it's not a job.
You know, your career.
It's not a career. It's my life. You see the difference?
Yeah, I'm on that.
Yeah. Because I get that all the time. People say, oh, your little career, or oh, your little, and I go, it's not none of that. It's my life.
What's the difference in a career in your life?
The career, I'm doing it because I have to. My life, I'm doing it because I want to.
Oh, okay. Well, I needed to hear that because I was trying to understand.
Yeah, your career, your life is different than your career. If you had a career that you had to go to, then that means you got to get up every morning, you got to make sure you're there, things like this. Unless you do what? Make your life your career. So then now you don't have to worry about none of that crap. Because you say, it's my life. This is what I do. A lot of people don't like that. My father was a janitorial individual, wound up at the end of his role being management, facility management. Why? Because he loved keeping order in places. He just loved cleaning. Everybody that has been around me loved what they were doing. It wasn't just a career. It wasn't just a job to them. Whatever they did, they loved doing. My mother was a data entry specialist for Citibank. She didn't love the corporate idea of it, but she loved the camaraderie of being in there with these ladies, putting information in. Being the person that's in charge of making sure information is properly put in. That's why I'm always about being clear and trying to open my mouth properly. Why? Because that woman made sure, she said, hey, you want to translate information, it should be clear and precise. And you should love wanting to give it. So that's your true differences between career and life. Think about it. If you don't hear somebody complaining about their particular job that you've seen them doing, you might be encountering an individual that really loves what they're doing.
Mm.
So if you don't complain about your life passion,
I didn't call it life passion. I said life.
Life.
Passion is something else too as well outside of life to me.
So so if you don't complain about your life,
obviously you do something that you love.
Okay. Okay.
Because the minute you complain, you're not doing something you love.
Oh.
And I'm not talking about complaining like, you know, I'm talking about the type of complaining like, oh, I gotta get up today. I have to get over it. I don't want to do this today. I really don't want to do this. That's complaining.
Oh.
That's a career. That's a job.
Something else today too.
Say again?
You taught us something else today too.
No, I didn't really. I just made you aware of what people do. That's all. And everybody does it. And we got to challenge each one of ourselves.
Before.
Say again?
I didn't think about it before though.
No, you do. It becomes a subconscious movement now. Because consciously, you're going to say what? You're going to put the word survival in front of it. Well, this is what I got to do to survive. And then everybody will say what? They'll get quiet because they're in the same boat. And they'll go, oh, okay. But then I'll raise my hand and say, why are you going there then if you don't like it?
For the money.
So then what? That makes it good? That makes it better? No, it makes it worse. Because now how you make it worse is now you start depending upon the economic currency that's coming from there. And you don't look for no other opportunities. Because it's all in one basket. And then when somebody comes and kick that basket over or says that basket is done, we're taking it out of circulation, everybody gets upset. I don't. I look at it and say, it's possibly you did that to yourself. Why? Because you went a certain route where a lot of human beings go, and then at the end, I meet them in the parks and stuff where I'm at to help them out. It's like, maybe you just did that just to survive. Okay, cool. But that doesn't mean that what life is all about.
Right.
Where is your true love at with what you want to do with your form? You know, does each, how would you say, thing that deals with a human being, does it have to go through the avenue of art? Yes. Most of us don't believe it. Why? Because things been columned in row. So that you think everybody has to have a special thing in them to do this, what we're doing today all together. That's why the mission over here is to get 1 million people to draw together. Because then once that happens, you will all see, like, wow, we are all creative. That means everybody is. One last one. Do you believe that you're a creation, Miss Paulette?
Yes.
So if you're a creation, shouldn't a creation create?
Yes.
Then what's the problem? You see?
Yeah.
Oh, look, most of your comments come in with that. I give that one to help out a lot of people. If you are a creation and you was created, don't you think you should create?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the thing with you, like I said, you know, when you love wisdom and learning new things.
I didn't even put wisdom on there. Wisdom is nothing more than experience, the footstep that you take. So it's a journey. I don't worry about these words.
When you tell us stuff, you know, it's not just you. I mean, I take it as learning something new. So that's why I said that, you know, we learn something else new when you're talking, because, you know, something you might not think about or you might not think about it, never even thought cross your mind when you mention it. It's like aha moments and stuff like that. It's like, You know, that's why I say we're always learning something new with you outside of the art. You know,
And this is why I say you're not learning anything new. That's why it is an aha moment for you. Why? Because truly, deep down inside, each individual human being, you know this stuff.
there's some dumb people out there that just don't even think about.
So then how are you getting up every morning, Miss Paulette? How are you brushing your teeth? How are you washing your body? How are you looking around and enjoying your room and all the things you put in there if this is not
I
true?
don't think a lot of people that do that. Okay, because
Everybody does that.
there's a lot of people that's not into art, you know, or even into
Miss Paulette, how many people decorate their homes? And what is decoration when you talk about that culturally? That's art.
yeah,
That's expression. That's art. When you put a flower in the ground and you pick a certain distinctive species and the color to accentuate what the color of your house is, that's
right.
art. When you're cooking your food and you put onions with bell peppers, that's art.
It's art. If you
No.
look at it,
Miss Paulette, that is your problem and the world's problem at that point, or Westernized civilization's problem, because that's the cloak.
right.
That's the program.
That's the program.
Mhm.
You are an artist by conception. If
Yeah.
you do not create or express that creativity, it has been shown that things will go haywire, i.e., why are they putting art back in school?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because these highfalutin individuals are realizing, wait a minute, we have to be able to make things.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
that's
things, that is art. All right, another one, your money is art.
right.
See, you think otherwise, but your art, your money is nothing more than a lithographic printing.
Right.
It's art.
Yeah.
Your coin that you pick up, that's minted, is a relief sculpture.
Right.
It's form following function. I can keep going, Miss Paulette, to show this whole world why you're an artist and why the elite don't want you to think that way. Why? Because you'll be thinking like them, the same way that we're supposed to think, every human being. It can go on and on. I'm trying to tell you, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Have to be an artist. You have to express yourself. You have to look at this world with creative eyes. Because I'm telling you, I'm gonna die broke telling you all this stuff. I already know it. I'm gonna die broke. And you have to, I'm accepting it. Because I know each human being on the planet don't want to hear that.
Right.
And then there's other little hiccups that go into it.
Yep.
That put 150,000 down and still having to pay for what y'all enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Look at every artist around you with a different idea now. This is not just recreation. Or how do you think I'm helping people in the psychiatric world without a certification in art therapy, because you never really had to have a German construct, which is a certificate, to be able to help the next individual. That's why I say it's life. It's not a career. It's not a piece of paper. Somebody didn't have to really tell me to do this. It was through what people didn't say that made me get to this point. It was when I was in the adjudicated use programs and you're hearing master teachers say that they don't need to read. Right.
That's crazy.
Job instantly. I left instantly. They didn't know why I left. And I told them why. They didn't like it. So what? I think it's wrong to tell an individual that has autism that they don't have to know how to sign in it.
Right.
Because that's a contract. Your application is a contract. Our whole public and society construct is based upon contractual agreements. Why would you tell an individual that they can't create and draw their name, leaving their mark behind. See, these are the things. But we don't think about them. Why? Because we're all in survival mode. I gotta be there for 8.5 or whatever hours you are to be able to get 500 to 2,500 to 3,000 a week, depending upon how much you're making and what capacity you're in. Yep. So the more and more you observe, the more and more you do, that what gives the perception of perfection, because perfection is not real. Perfection is nothing more than somebody perceiving something that you do as being immaculate, because they're saying to you, I can't do it to the level of what I just saw you do. When that's untrue. And that's why I'm here once again, to show individuals that that's not true. That would have museums full of stuff. We wouldn't have historical information about the importance of the arts going into the sciences for eons. Ain't nothing new, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's true.
Go to the patent office if you want to have fun and look at all the earlier drawings and stuff like this. And you'll see it was always about creativity, always. This ain't nothing new. It was all about the creative individuals finding a way to make themselves known and prevalent and relevant in the society that they're in. That's where all these notions come from. And then once again, they're not mine. If I panned over and show you how many books I got just laying around and everything, I read every day, guys. Not just off the internet. I still do what was told to me by my mother, my Aunt Annie, and a couple of professors in the various little colleges I went to. You got to keep researching. You got to keep creating. You got to keep on the books. Because if I got the book in here and I know the reference, I can pull it out and show it to everybody and not have to worry about if I have electricity or not to show you on the screen. These are all these things at work, everybody. Like, look, is the tones here going to be the same as the tones back here? No. When you get up in here, you can just start putting them in, but then you have to figure out, like I'm hearing some people just hearing it sound like you're just throwing them in, but if you're throwing them in, that's the problem. You're not looking to see what the picture is telling you the alignments are and staying with that, staying on task with that. That's what art shows you too. How to resolve things, how to stay in focus with things. That's what I show the younger guys. If you look at those photographs from the class I just did with cartoons and comic books, everybody. And if you look at their pictures, you'll see they gained a lot from understanding how to make cartoons, just like we're doing here, have clarity. By taking your time, not rushing, not just assuming where something is, really figure out where it is and then apply it. Then the other thing is, I'm not in the room with you guys, so then what's happening is you're formulating your own movement within this. If you was in the room with me, I would come by your page, I would do a couple of movements and then walk away and then point out in the photograph why that's true. You know, if you look along here, there's darknesses along here that start letting you know where the dark patches of grass are. Are you going to be able to get every strand of grass? No. You see, but what would you do? You make up a mark that gives you that feeling. That's where the abstract and the objective hit. All artists do it. All the greats do it. If you go to the Philadelphia Museum and look at that main piece of, I believe it's Titian's in the hallway there, the 20th century section of the general or the soldier being attacked by an eagle. Huge piece right in the hallway. As soon as you turn to go down that hallway, you see it at the end of the hallway, facing you. Man, but if you look at that, he made the back long. He made the deltoid look like it was long. Well, he did that to stress the emotional aspect. The eagle wasn't in proportion. The eagle looked like it was in movement, distorting itself to attack the soldier. So what does that say to us, everybody? Even back then, they did what? Wow, I'm by myself now. Okay.
I'm trying to think, what did they do?
That would be creative license, wouldn't it be?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out where you were going with it.
Wow. Like,
You know, I'm drawing. I'm like,
perfection is a lie.
and I'm saying to myself, wow, you know, I can't believe it's amazing to be able to, you know, draw and look at the picture, and I'm amazed at myself, you know, I'm just, wow, you know.
It's amazing me, you're doing what's needed, and I'm glad you're finally doing it, Ms. Paulette, because now you can see the advantages of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
See the difference in thought? I know you can do these things. There is no way that you can't do these. You can do these things. It's just that when are you going to let yourself do it? When are you going to be open enough just to let it all just be? And that's the battle. That's the battle with every individual, Miss Paulette. And I'm glad you're conquering it a little bit. Because now you're starting to see. You follow that photograph, there ain't nothing that you can't do. Then it's making it up. If I said take the photograph away, watch one episode of Game of Thrones, and then freeze it on that part where they show this, and then now make up a drawing on it. Which one will be harder? Following the photograph or making it up from your mind?
Probably making it up. Well, no,
I would say honestly, the making it up would be harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Making it up would be harder.
Because you've never been there. You're only dealing with imaginary then. So now you're only dealing with what the cinematographer was able to give you through the filters that they use. Mm-hmm. And now there's your limit.
Mm-hmm.
You see? It starts to come more when you start seeing it more. If you really look at all the different models or modes of creation in the Western world, you'll see that these are all the epiphanies that make the terrain that they're in. And when we do it, we're paying ode to that too as well, because our terrain is in a new now. It's, you know what I mean? All Eakins, all these people have passed away. They're gone. Now somebody else has to come up and show the beauty of the land in this new era. Somebody has to paint it, whether it be with a spray can or a brush or a pencil, doesn't matter. Somebody has to do it now. In anew. Maybe have, how would you say, other ideas. Like, look, you asked about those smaller branches. What if you went out to the edge where you're saying things are and just started doing smaller movements like this? Just smaller lines that come in and they come off themselves. That's the Fibonacci theory. You see? See what's happening, Miss Paulette, when I do that? Just taking the lines there and coming from that main branch that I say is right here. So I darken in the main branch, and then now you have subsidiary branches that come off of that. And now those branches have branches, and now the little ones come off of that. You almost look like capillaries from your veins.
Right.
Yeah, your nervous system looks the same way.
Mm-hmm.
We're all products of this terrain. Everything you see, you can see in the human body too. So when you see those smaller lines and stuff like that, if you ever go to your doctor and you get like, you know, a scan of your chest or something like that, ask them, can you look at it? And you'll see that your nerve endings and your blood vessels, all the way down from the arteries, all the way down to the capillaries, like how these trees look. Which means that you know, that movement is in the womb with you to make these things happen to you as well. But they say you're a ramification of everything around you. That's where I got the idea from, everybody, when I started teaching. I was reading Genesis, I was reading other books and stuff like this, and it was this main thing that started echoing. And the main thing that echo is what's above, so shall be below. What's within shall be without. I said, holy crap, wait a minute. So then all of a sudden it hit me. I started looking at certain things, and I asked a doctor. Then your doctor will say, well, yeah, I learned that in medical school, that your veins move pretty much like how trees move when they're growing, and so on and so forth. So then not only do you want to observe this phenomenon or whatever it is, after you observe it, you want to go ask somebody that deals in that.
Mhm.
And then when you ask that person that deals in that, if they smile or chuckle or stop, then you know you've observed the right thing, or else why are they stopping or pausing? Now, if they stop and pause and give you an ugly face, like, what are you talking about? Then you know you might be off kilter a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, you want to go out and challenge, ask the question. I want to know. If you really want to know, right? That's how you get to know.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then you look, see how I'm looking at this branch here? I'm looking at the reason why I'm pausing now is I'm looking in the area where I'm saying those branches are, or those trees are. Now, if I'm saying they're here, I look at the photograph and see what I'm mimicking. And I notice now another branch comes off that's kind of thick, and it's another thicker one that comes across, and it thins out when it comes across this one. So you notice how I'm not rushing. I'm not rushing because I know if I rush, that whole idea in there can confuse you. So then the point, then once it confuses you, then that's when you have to resolve on what? Your creative abilities then to make us believe it.
Mhm.
You know? So if you notice, if we look at the photograph, these two trees here on the left side, and this one tree on the right side goes out the top of the page. You notice that?
Mhm.
So it's this one here, right? Once I follow this one up, because you got to understand, it's been pruned to this point too. Can't you see the cut off tree limbs on certain sides?
Mhm.
That means somebody came out and pruned this to get this way. It just didn't, grow that way. Some of it
Right.
fell down. Somebody came out and was, doing the upkeep. And this is what happens when you do upkeep. If you look at some of the areas around us, look around the power lines on the highway sometimes, or on your expressways. You'll see funny shaped trees like this too, because the way that they're pruning the tree
Mhm.
to not engage the wire.
Right.
So they come out every 6 months to a year to do that type of heavy grooming of plant life.
Right.
They do it around the Schuylkill River too, you guys. They do it around the 676, 76. You know the deal.
Mhm.
When you see all the plant life growing down on the bridge and causeway, when you're going on the 76, I think that is, or 676 to get to 76.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they clear off all that stuff, man. You have to come in every 6 to maybe a year to clear off and bring her back to those plants. But then you'll see trees doing the same thing they're doing in this picture here. You see? You can see how some of the tree limbs are growing over and on itself and out the opposite side. See, that's why I'm looking at this one now, and it has a gap here because there's a branch coming over the other side here that's going out this way and touching the tree over here. You see?
Mhm.
Then there's another branch that's coming from here. You see, from behind there, it looks like. And it's coming around and it's dangling down. And now that's starting to touch this tree here. You see, if we look at this big tree, we don't see a smaller tree that's behind this big tree on the right side. Because if you look at that one branch that's coming out from round about here on the piece, and there's a knot from somebody cutting one down here. And then now when you come down, there's another knot here, but then it looks like it's a branch coming out of here. But that branch is not with this tree. If you zoom in on the picture, it's coming from behind the tree. You see? So there's another little tree that we're not seeing that's right behind this bigger tree. And then that's where we have the shrubbery in here. So once again, for everybody on this one, thanks for asking all those good questions, Ms. Paulette, is that when you're doing trees like this or a lot of density, try to figure out where the main items are moving first. You get and now with these trees is that means the main trunks and the main branches that's going out, the thicker ones. Once I get all those thicker ones in, then I can come back and put in all those smaller branches now that look like twigs or that look like capillary veins.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or if you look at the middle part here of the photograph, it might remind you of the heart and how the veins are on the top of the heart when they show the heart and the cadaver. You ever notice that, everybody, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever had an opportunity to go to a gross anatomy lab or a morgue.
I did, but I didn't want to, you know, I was a substitute teacher that, but I didn't want to see what was under those sheets because they didn't let the students see. But I did study the skeleton, though, you know, the way the other bones you don't, you know, pretty much don't see on the skeleton. So I was looking at all of that, studying the skeleton.
Okay, if they show you that, I ask you this, Ms. Paulette. In the procreation process, what comes first?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, I know, bro.
The seed.
What now?
In the procreation process, what comes first?
What
Yeah,
comes?
In the developmental process of the fetus in the womb, the
The head.
procreation process, what comes
The
first?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, the bird of the spine.
No.
Oh my goodness.
The heart.
Finally, you got it. Everything envelopes out of the heart.
Hmm.
Did not know that.
Yep.
Me either.
Very good. That's why I was saying to people, if you listen to the videos I said earlier on, everybody, if you get a chance, study the procreation process, because in science and in the arts and everything else, they say that thing, that process there shows you everything. Shows you how to be patient with yourself, shows you that everything is not perfect, that everything is trial and error, timing, everything. And then it'll make you look past this idea of perfection and look at it anew. Whereas the very life is the perfection now. To breathe is the perfection. To take in the wind is the perfection. You are a perfection that's trying to be perfect. And even within that state of being created with these perfect mechanisms, you still have some things off that are do what? Is based upon environment. And that means environment, whether it's in the womb or outside of the womb, both environments pressing you while you're in the procreation process. Then it goes from the heart, then it goes to the nerve endings, the vessels and all of that. Then the bones grow, then the muscles grow and tendons grow to the bone. Your bone can't be first if everything's encased by your bones and layered with your bones and on top of your bones, think about it. Your brain is in the skull.
Mm,
How did it get in there?
right.
How did it grow? Did the nerve stem grow out from the heart or grow down from the brain?
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Is your small intestine another brain?
Some
Is
people
your
say it
outer
is.
skin, is your outer skin another kidney?
Mm,
This is the observation that we need to be able to be beautiful creators.
mm,
But what do? We take the easy route and say, well, that person got the white coat on. They got to be blessed. They're very talented.
mm.
I can't do that. All of a sudden, just cutting yourself right out of the equation. But if I go backwards and I say to each person I say this to, everybody, I do it to every elder I bump into that's retired and they start talking certain ways. And then I ask them, I say, well, are you a creation?
Mm,
Some people get quiet. Some people will, they'll say, yeah, right off the bat. I say, okay, then that means that you was created. You are a creation. That means that you must do what then? And then everybody, they fall apart at that. And I said, that means that you must create. Then one lady said, well, isn't that going against your religion? I said, how so? If your religion was made with the very mechanism that we're talking about. You see, was man used as a vehicle to create the religion that we're all following? Yes. Does that mean you're supposed to be a vehicle for creation or creativity? Yes. So then ask yourself, why do people fight it so much?
true.
Why do they let it go and say that it's something else when I buy a vase and put it in my house and put yellow flowers?
Mm-hmm.
How come I'm not an artist then? How come I'm not an artist when I clean my bathroom and it's smelling like, morning dew, whatever you brought to freshen up the spot?
Mm-hmm.
How come I'm not an artist then?
Because you look at art and
No, you are an artist.
yeah,
That's
I'm
the
talking about
problem. No, the very thing that you're about to say, Ms. Paulette, is the problem.
yeah, but I mean, society does not teach that everything you do is an
Yes,
art.
they do.
Well, okay, then those who are aware, awoke.
I'm not even saying woke. We all woke.
I just
My
use
eyes is open. My eyes is open. We're walking around. We woke. That's another one that's got to go. You're not sleeping because you're making a choice. You're saying, I don't want to listen to none of that. Or I'm not even looking at that because I'm staying here with money, materialism, survival mechanisms. I'm staying there. That's what a lot of people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
All that other stuff is fluff. Everybody's literally saying to themselves, you know what, I can't do that child stuff. And then what they do, they'll take all the religious texts that say children should let go of children's thing and be adult. Whereas every ancient society said, hold on to your childlike mind.
right.
You have to ask yourself why you tell yourself these things, everybody. Because of the program.
Mm-hmm.
That's the program. To tell yourself that you're not creative, that I gotta depend upon somebody else to create it, is the fallacy. Everything you do in your day is creative. Everything. Everything. If it wouldn't, you wouldn't be here. You'd be doing a horizontal mambo, as I call it. Death. Transition. On to the next job. Yep. And these are the things that certain other human beings know, but don't want the rest of society to really be abreast with that idea. Why? Then it's hard to micromanage people that are paying attention to every movement that you're making. That's why China was able to do that whole hospital set up, that they taped and everything, and everybody, all the other controlling features in the world was kind of like, I'm going to say, hating on China for that. Because in each one of your other societies, you can't make a decision from the top down easy and make it go. In America, you can't do that. Can we? If the president said, I want to make a hospital right now and have it all fully function in less than 30 days, the whole society is going to function on this. Can we get that to work in America?
No.
Nope. But in China, they did, right? Why?
Yep.
Because the way their society is set up.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, ours will be, people will be debating. You'll have Congress, you know.
Yeah, you say that, and you say these other things that you're about to say, Ms. Paulette, but then why does everybody in the world want to come here?
Because you can make money here.
No, it's not the money.
Freedom.
The freedom of what? Freedom is really free everywhere. You're free everywhere, but what is the absolute on the freedom? The freedom to express yourself, the freedom to come up with an idea, the freedom to come from nothing and make something. In other societies, you're not that. If you're not part of something.
Right.
If you're not part of the elite some type of way through family, marriage, or something, then you're staying where you're at.
Right.
In America, I can be where I'm at and then all of a sudden say, you know what? Instead of sweeping floors, I'd rather go ahead on and sweep computer chips. Let me take a job over there at a computer chip company at the bottom rung, work my way up. You can do that here. Can't do that everywhere. No matter how hard you work, you won't move past where you're at.
Well, you gotta have some experience for them to let you do that.
Not true in America. You really think that you gotta have experience? So then what do you gotta get a degree for? Because when you get a degree, you don't have no experience. But you're able to leapfrog somebody that did 20 years plus.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you get a degree and now you're over top of that person. Now I say again, do you have to have a degree or experience to be above somebody? Or to be in the knowing crowd? Isn't that the problem of our society today? You have individuals that's in their 30s and 20s making decisions for people that's in their 40s and 50s. That's not the normal function or movement of our society. You know, you really gotta look at these things. And it all starts upon understanding creativity and observation. And this is why the elite, if you look at every war that went down, they would go in and go get the artists. Why? Because we do nothing but observe you all day. Artists observe. Anybody, male or female, doesn't matter. If you're observing things around you all day, that means not too much is getting past you after a while. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say, I don't know. Observation is the key. Repetition is everything. It's in everything in society. It's in your art. It shows you in your replication of things that everything that we're saying sometimes is we're self-damning. I remember when people told me I couldn't go and be a teacher without going to teaching school. I said, that's a lie. And no, I don't have to. And people used to argue with me, really curse me bad. Until that day I came back with that emergency certificate and it bypassed their 4 years going to college for teaching. But all I needed was my college degree and go to the state that has the emergency. People don't understand how society moves because they don't observe. Observation is key. Repetition is everything. Perfection is a lie. Try again. You see? So yeah, Miss Paulette, I'll serve you some, some references to things that I'm going to say and why I say them, because it's absolute. It's there. I'm not worried about being right or wrong. I'm only worried about what is. Because at a certain point, everybody gets tired of somebody lying to them all the time, wouldn't you say? I would rather have somebody tell me the truth and it be harsh. And it makes me upset a little bit. I'll take that. Now I got to go figure out what this individual went to go find. How did they find it? What did they see? What did they read? That's how I was able to get even more and more stuff. What helps a person in autism? What helps a person in Alzheimer's? You guys? Hello?
Yeah. Drawing.
Huh?
Creating.
Repetition.
Repetition.
Yep. To bring somebody back from Alzheimer's, or to help them with bringing their memory back or getting their mind straight from that point forward, you have to set up a strategy of repetition. Repetitive movements build neurons, which build experience, which builds wisdom, which builds know-how. Everything that's repetitively done, if you repetitively say something. Now, people ask me, how do I know that? Well, when I go into the situations where I go into, doctors and psychologists and different type of people would tell me certain individuals can't remember, don't get upset if they don't remember you. I walk in the room after about 3 weeks of working with these people. When I come in, smiles, we're laughing. Hey, big guy, we're cracking jokes. How do they remember the big brown guy? That's what they call me, some of them. The big brown guy. How do they remember him? If they can't remember none of you in the facility you're saying. Then I looked at one of the psychologists and said, wouldn't that be an idea of selectivity? That there's a broken path inside of what your idea is as far as, grooming or rehabbing these individuals. There's a break in your theorem. If I can come in, you say the person don't remember. I flip the corner, they don't remember my name, but they remember my body type, my flesh tone, my smile, certain features, my hair, and they remember exactly what I came in the room for. And they come in saying, I can't wait to get to my art time. How is that then, if these persons are totally in loss of mind state? Then obviously somebody is playing some type of weird old games. And that's what I saw. That's why I started taking these positions. What else I found is everybody don't want to go to those environments to do that real work. That's the real work. Sitting in front of somebody, just like Helen Keller, trying to figure out what's up with this form. How can I bring order to this form for that individual? So that when I'm gone, they can still function in society. Here's another one. Ask your children this one. Why are teachers saying that homework is worthless?
Wow.
Yeah. Go look. This is why I left certain arenas. Because I had an argument with a young lady on the train the other day. She was telling a young man that she was training in teaching K-8. And he was asking, he's an African-American male. He was asking, he wanted to say how homework or repetition was worthless. And I jumped right in. Y'all know me. I didn't know him. But I said, how do you say that? I said, homework is where you develop self. Homework is where you develop a work ethic. Homework shows you how to have a strategy, how to download information and be able to regurgitate it when you need to, or apply it when it's need to. Because there's a difference between applying it and regurgitating. But to tell an individual or to have in your mind that homework is worthless, that's a catastrophe to me. Because now you're saying, well, where is the individual going to be able to apply and learn strategy? You think inside this institution? Well, how do they know how to apply outside of the institution?
Right.
You see, these are all the problems of society when we're looking around in this new age that we want to say that we're in. None of it has changed. We still have to deal with what we have to deal with. Education of the populace and making people aware. Do we want them dumbed down, or do we want everybody aware to be aware of what it is that we're doing? Being aware of your surroundings and everything else. Just ask somebody, when they say no, you have to ask them, well, why are you saying no to that? You know, why is it a big no to not have everybody observing? You know, is it because in a capitalistic society, we make based upon the unknowing? The more that you're in an unknowing category, the more that I can make off of your ill-fated decisions. And not be held accountable for any harm that may come to you because you made a decision. Yeah, and that's biblical too.
Yeah.
All the biblical texts, they say that long as you don't bring harm to a creation, right? You haven't stolen or harmed the grand creator or God himself. Him or herself, I'll say it that way. But the minute that you bring harm to a creation, you have problems now. So if I lead you somewhere and I get you to buy into something, you know what I mean, that may be worthless, but you don't know it's worthless, but I'm able to benefit off of anywhere from 50 to 80% of that product, most people will sell it to you. And then say to you, you have to deal with that on your own terms. I didn't put a gun in your face. I didn't steal it from your children. You see, if you look at the Ma'atan laws, the 42 principles of Ma'at, the first principles that is there is that I haven't stolen with malice or hate, which means that you didn't kill somebody for what it is that you wanted. So that means that it's not stealing if I convince you to make your own decision that benefits me. How can I be accountable for that?
Right.
This is what's in creativity, you guys. That's why everybody's an artist. That's why everybody's an expressive. They express most of this in poetry. Phrases and bars and stuff like this. I'm not saying anything wrong, you know. All of this you can find out if you read about any theorem, Pythagorean and all this good stuff. If you read up on Tesla and all these guys, you're going to see that they're actually doing what it is that I'm talking about, because that's the people that I read to find out that that's where you need to be. Yeah, with Tesla, he talks about 3, 6, and 9. The Cometians, the Sumerians talked about 3, 6, 9. Now we slide into numerology. How many numbers of branches or trunks of trees do we have on one side, base or other? We got 4 that really reveal themselves, 3 that really reveal themselves over here. That's another number, 7. You know?
7 comes up a lot, even in the Bible.
Well, 7 is what? What does it mean? It's a divine number. What does it mean? Find out, everybody. Find out why they may say there's only the only numbers that exist is 1 through 10.
Yeah, why is that?
I think 7 is a renewal number, you know. Like,
Number
huh?
is a what number?
Renew, it renews. It's like, you know, I think in the
10 is renewal.
well, 7 is all
0. 7 is divine because it's not really renewal.
well.
Just look into it. I'll say that. I'll just say just look into it because I don't want to cause people issues. I like bringing up stuff like that because it's all in nature. It's all part of Fibonacci theory. It's all part of how things move in nature. You know, it gets you to understand that time is not really time. We're really looking at movement, and we're calling it time. So the movement of 7 says something, but it's not completion, because completion will be 10. And then we go back to 0 from what they say, or they say 9 can be completion as well, because then you're heading towards the turnaround, which would be 10. And then the same thing.
Yeah, I just did a quick search and a lot of stuff is coming up.
Yeah. A whole lot of stuff was going to come up.
Yeah, spirituality, love, prosperity, auspiciousness.
Yep.
Deep matters of influence in our life.
Yep.
And what's real interesting, they talk about music.
Yep.
And then let's see, about the 7 notes. There's the 7 wonders of the world.
Yep, 7 wonders of the world, 7 notes, 7 tones, 7 tastes, 7 sounds, so on and so forth, 7 colors.
Hey, but you know what's really interesting? They bring in Game of Thrones, which comes back to what we're doing here with the Dark Hedges. Yep, it talks about it revolves around 7 kingdoms.
Thank you. So then why do you think I brung it up?
I know. I'm the sidekick.
But I'm just saying, you're not a sidekick. You're Nadine O.
I'm Nadine O.
Right. So then Nadine O, as far as editing and cinematography concerned, the power of 7 is in there too.
Yes. Yes. I was born on the 7th. Yay!
You know, this is all I'm saying. Yeah. The power of 7 is everywhere, but it's not an idea of completion, though. It's on the road to completion, but it's not completion.
So everything in writing and movies and everything, the power of 7 is there. 7 dwarfs.
Yes.
7 days in a week.
Yes.
7 planets.
Yeah, well, supposed planets, because now you have to understand, is that really real up there?
Yeah, that's true. That's a whole nother.
That's another argument. That's another argument, because people are saying, you know, what it is that you're seeing. I'm not seeing a round that NASA is showing me when I see Saturn. I'm seeing a globe and everything else when I look at that scope, that telescope that I got. I'm seeing a blur.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a blur that's not easily distinctive.
Yeah.
So then you have to ask yourself, once you see that, what is NASA giving me?
Right.
Is NASA giving me CGI? If you find out, all the Hubble telescopes and all this stuff, they send back mathematical equations and stuff. And then from those, they print out a bigger printout, and then now they CGI you to death, which is computer-generated image, everybody.
Right.
The very globe that we look at, if you have one in your house, slide over to the area where it tells you who made it. And you may read a very interesting sentence that'll say to you, I think it says, for entertainment uses only, not for education.
Wow.
On every globe.
Wow.
On every globe. Now, somebody's going to tell you that's because it's not precise to what our globe is. No.
that again? What you say about this globe?
If you buy a globe, you know, little globes that you buy to put on your desk or to put on the floor that you can roll around and look important in your house and everything. Yeah, globe. If you roll around to the part where they say the maker of the globe, right? You'll get to that little area where the barcode is and everything, and you'll see a little sentence, a disclaimer. That disclaimer is going to say, not for education use, for entertainment use only, or it's going to say something along those lines.
Why?
Because it ain't right.
Well, you would think, I mean, entertainment purposes, the globe is supposed to be educational.
Well,
see, that's what you think because you assume it because of the package, because of the, how would you say, the programming.
Mm-hmm.
But the programmers of our society know that that's a fallacy.
Right.
So in order for them not to get sued again,
right,
they put the disclaimer on. Isn't that what we do in our society? You don't want to get sued. You got to put a disclaimer.
Do your own due diligence.
You know, think about all the medicine. Yeah, think about all the medicines you get. And then all of a sudden, at the end of that doggone commercial, tell you may cause blindness, may cause liver bleeding, may cause anal rectal bleeding, may cause rectal irritation. It tells you all this stuff.
Yep.
That's the disclaimer to let you know that something's faulty, but play at your own risk.
Yep.
It goes back to the biblical text and the 42 principles of my art that I'm telling you about, or that I brought up. And in the first, tenets, it states, you know what I mean? Do not, I forget how exactly it says, but it's basically saying, do not kill the still. If you're not killing the still, then basically it alludes that stealing is okay.
Right. Yeah, I have not committed sin. I have not committed robbery with violence. I have not stolen. I have
there you
not.
Go. That's the one. Stop there. You ain't got to go all the way through them. Stop at that one right there.
I have not stolen.
I have committed what?
I have not stolen.
Right.
I have not committed robbery with violence.
Stop right there. What is that saying to you?
Is it saying?
It may be alluding towards stealing is permitted as long as you're not stealing from God.
Oh, okay.
Think about it. You haven't robbed nobody or haven't done it with malice.
Right.
What's malice?
Yeah.
Torturing, killing, raping, pillaging.
Yep. Like say like you're hungry and there's a tree and it's on somebody's yard and you eat the apple.
Okay. I didn't steal.
Right.
But the minute that I slap the guy that the farm is on and I slap him and I shoot him in the face and take all the trees, what have I done?
Right.
Committed robbery with malice.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, if I jump the fence and I take the apple, man says that's stealing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now the gentleman comes out of his house and shoots the guy before he gets over the fence and stealing the apple.
Right.
What is he seen as then?
Right.
Because that's the very dilemma we're having today.
Mm-hmm.
So observation is key. Repetition is everything.
Right.
Perfection is perception. This is how the arts work throughout society. And there you go. The end of today. Let me get my coffee. I'll let you guys do what you're going to do now. I got to get another cup of coffee. It's 12:09.
All right. Hey, everybody. How y'all feeling? Man, oh, man. Miss Paulette, Don, I tell you, this was something.
Yeah.
I mean, do you agree when we did these moments are, I don't know, really has you thinking.
Yeah.
Really has you thinking, even while you're drawing or sketching or, whatever, we're painting, we're expanding the mind and how important it is to look. And I'm not gonna lie, I fall back into it because I'm over 50 years of thinking one way. The pattern is a challenge, trying to break that pattern.
That's what we all do.
Yeah, it's and it's like I know I shouldn't be, but that moment it just creeps up. It's that thought. They go, some Buddhists call it the monkey mind. Like right on the back of you, telling you, no, it ain't perfect. So.
Well, I just like to call it the old American Negro thing, whereas I'm not paying attention and I'm doing what I want to do.
Okay.
That's the Negro secret. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have any uncles and stuff around that can help me out with stuff, you see. Uncles and aunties are very important in society.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
They fill the blank for mom and dad and grandma. That's the person you go to really get your sciences and everything together, your reasoning together. Because you think mom and dad is not listening to me. They just want to give me rules.
Yeah.
Right.
That's when auntie, uncle, cousins, older cousins, they come in hand to break down the whys and why mom and dad is being so strict.
Right.
And then they go, oh, that's what it was for? Yeah, but you're not going to hear it because all you know is that they're persecuting you.
Right. It does kind of feel like that.
My cousins.
Yeah.
And we all go through it. I did it with my mom. I saw a video today on YouTube where the camera for the front door has a speaker on it now.
Yeah.
Well, you know how when you was little, you had those candid moments where you would curse your parent out and they would never know about it?
Yep, not anymore.
Not anymore. This little girl called her mama an ugly bitch because she's lazy.
Oh, no.
Excuse my language, everybody, but that's what this little girl said, and a doggone device recorded her.
Oh, my
So it was
goodness.
like, man, I can only imagine when mama went and looked at that video coverage and heard her baby call her a female dog. Woo! Good Lord, man. Good Lord.
In trouble with a capital T.
Woo! I know I would be in trouble with those doggone cameras recording everything I'm saying because I used to have my own outburst by myself in the house in my room. But there wouldn't be no cameras or nothing around like now that can record you.
Right.
So imagine you home and you cussing your mama out like how you did when you was smaller. And all of a sudden the phone rings.
Right.
And you pick up the phone and your mama says, so that's how you feel?
Oh.
Okay, all right. Okay, wait till I get home. I bet you this BITCH won't be feeding anybody. Oh, my
right.
God. Woo! Oh, man. So I couldn't imagine being a kid today with all that going on. I would be beat half to death. You know?
Even if you out doing no good, and then the social media video ends up in Facebook.
Oh, God.
And your parents go and look.
Oh, God.
And see you on video.
Oh, God. See you cutting school. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Like the boy that got caught some years ago by his mama being out there protesting.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom ran out there right to the area where he was at and snatched the mask off him and everything.
Oh, yeah, that was something.
Yeah.
Remember that.
You remember that, Miss Paulette? That was a funny scene right there.
Yeah, I remember that. She came right out.
That young lady saw her kid on it, knew who it was in the mask and everything, and ran out there and got her baby out of there. bust them in the head, pull the mask off them, get your behind home. I ain't worked this hard for you to die. Go home.
Right?
No, you embarrassing me, Mom. Oh, get home, boy.
Yeah, that was something. That was a video right there.
Yeah, that would have been me with my mama, and she's like so short. She's 5'1" and I'm 6'4". That would have been a funny look, boy, but that's what used to happen.
Yup.
And I'm so glad that she did it that way, because I wouldn't be me now. I wouldn't be here now the way that I am if she didn't take those precautions and do that. And that's why Miss Paulette and Nadine O, my homie, my partner in crime, that's why I feel so much about line, shape, form, light, and surface, because I've been able to pull it out of my life and see where it actually is applied and was applied,
Right.
and how individuals around me applied that, but didn't absolutely know that that's what they were applying.
Right.
And then to take it further, our ancient civilizations, no matter who they and what they were, they all knew about this stuff that we're talking about.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Back when there were no computers.
Or computers that we know of in the way that we know of computers.
Sure.
Because think about it, the abacus was considered a computer.
True.
So if that's considered a computer, we can only fathom what they thought what they had as a computer to be able to measure. Like, think about it. They smelted, they got something out of a rock, put it in a mold, and made us look at it for 20,000 years or so, or 10,000 years, or 6,000 years.
Yeah.
When art historians or scientists used to say, science teachers used to say they was primitive, I used to always argue that fact and then get kicked out of the room. It's not that I knew a lot at those times, it's just that I would ask the question. It didn't make any sense. If I'm looking at King Tut's sarcophagus, it's made out of gold, you give me the dates that it's made in, I'm living in this present time, but you're saying they're primitive, and I can't even fathom how they got metal out of stone.
Right.
How did they even see it to know how to do that?
Right.
Was it a natural phenomenon that they saw to be able to do that?
Right.
Did somebody fall from somewhere to give them that?
Or it was a download.
Right. What was it? After a while, line, shape, form, light, and surface, it leads. All right, one more, Nadine. They're saying aliens is here now. It's a guy that was in California, right?
Yep.
That said that they landed and it was this tall thing, and so now they're going here now.
Yeah.
Line, shape, form, light, and surface. If I look at the edges of what they call an alien and I see anything that looks human, I know it's not an alien. It's from over there somewhere. It's not from up there.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Because they're creating the madness, you're saying.
Right. So it has to be from over there somewhere, not up there.
Right. Isn't that something though?
It's all beautiful though. It's all beautiful if we look at it. That's the power of our world that we're living in. That's the creativity that's here. That's what I try to tell the people. That's how much creative power we have here that we create all the time.
Yeah.
Every aspect of what we do has to be creative. Even the stories we live by. Falsified or true, fact or fiction, it has to be expressed.
Yes, we have to express ourselves.
If we don't, then, a lot of things go haywire. That's when you have, aneurysms, brain farts, brain edema. I found out about new stuff about that stuff. Comes on from stress and overly thinking that you're perfect and stressing things. Yeah, then you can get swelling of the brain, that brain edema, where the waters flow to the brain and pop your brain vessels because of the pressure and all that good stuff.
Pressure, man.
Yeah, pressure breaks pipes, man. So why bring that pressure to yourself?
It's a struggle.
Always.
I mean, I don't know. Even from my 30s on to now, just dealing with the pressure.
But then you have to say to yourself, okay, since we're going further, then what is pressure? You have to say then that pressure is self-inflicted. Even if somebody's inflicting something or making a happen, like a Hegelian concept, we still have to make the decision to work to make the first foot forward.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
To make the decision. So I look at it like that is being self-inflicted based upon what we have to do as beings is move forward.
Yeah.
We have no choice but to move forward. So in that moving forward, you got to deal with certain matters.
And, you know, being in survival mode.
Yeah, well, you know, they say you have to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Self-perseverance is everything.
Right.
You look in nature, deception is there. All of the stuff that we just talked about, if we look in the mammalian kingdom, or we look in the insect kingdom, or we look in the fowl kingdom, you know, everything that flies, it's all in each kingdom. You know? So it's just interesting to see the commonalities and everything, and then the misunderstandings and understandings of us all. But the main thing that I like to leave people with is that we are all creations, whether we like it or not, or whether whatever word you want to put on it. We are all created. We are all creations by something that created us, or someone's that created us. That means that if we're created, we're creation, that means our main mechanism is we got to create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the first thing that debunks a lot of things for people. Because like how you said, epiphany moments, Miss Paulette, and stuff like that, that's when that happens, when something goes counter to what you're thinking, and it's all of a sudden it challenges what you're thinking. It's like, holy crap, could that be? How can I test that? Then that's when you got to go out on your own terms, like how I do and every other artist does, male or female, young or old, to challenge your observations. And then once you see it around you, you go, oh, okay. I understand. I understand where my misconceptions come from. Not that I was wrong, it's just a misconception or timing. Not really observing this thing in its true light. Not that I'm wrong, it's just that I didn't observe it in its entirety.
Right.
That's why I say there is no wrong and right, there's only what is. Keep creating, everybody. Keep creating, and you'll be smiling like me, and you won't be constipated.
You won't be constipated.
Yeah.
That's right, y'all. Don't be constipated. Create.
Right. Create. Get a creative colonic, you know, just like you would have to get a colonic if you was backed up from eating too many plastic foods. You have a creative colonic, and hopefully you guys are getting your creative colonic with me, Don Stephens, and Nadine O, our content creator.
Yeah. I'll keep regular, you say.
Yeah.
Say again?
I'll keep regular.
There you go. We just gotta keep moving. Gotta keep moving.
Yep, and thank you, Miss Paulette, for not being sensitive in our discourses, because a lot of people get upset at sometimes my passion. So thank you once again for not getting upset and understanding where we were at in conversation. Thank you very much always. And lastly, thank you for all the questions you asked, because a lot of people be having the same questions, Miss Paulette, but they're not as bold as you or progressive or outward as you to ask them. So I thank you once again.
I was in an astronomy class, and I would, you know, I love astronomy, but we was learning some new things. And I asked questions. Everybody was scared. The questions they were scared asking. Then we started asking to be explained, but they kind of like get rough, you know, because I asked. Then they like, oh, it's the same question I wanted to ask too, but they were scared.
Exactly.
So I had, you know, but I wanted to know. You know, I didn't want to be trying to do something you didn't know what you was doing. You know. Right.
No, that's the same reason why I would ask questions in churches and classes and mosques and stuff like that and get kicked out. Honestly, really just get kicked out. Like, all right, I'll give you a funny one. When I was younger, right, around about 14, 15, I started to go, you know how you have those churches where they have the lunch programs and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm in South Jersey for the summer and they take me over to it. It's at St. Joe's, right? So, you know, the pastor in the Sunday school session started talking about Adam and Eve And this is younger Don, impulsive now. And then now the man said they begot everybody on the planet. And I yell out, Eve's a whore.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I didn't mean it, but it just came to me. I said, Eve's a whore. And then he said, blasphemy. Why did you say that? I said, well, how is she making every woman and man on the planet if she's not? Because who made all the other derivatives? If Adam didn't make every man, then who was the other guys that was having sex with Eve to get all these people here?
And why didn't we think about that?
But it's a child's mind. And next thing I know, one of the nuns, because it was one of those Catholic situations, St. Joseph down here. And they escorted me outside, gave me a little lunch and everything, waited for my aunt to come and everything, you know what I mean? Quite nice about the kick out. At least I got lunch and everything, but I was totally confused.
Right.
And that's coming from a child from New York City that had that question. You're asking a child that's never been thrust at. It sounded very strange to me because all the women I saw around me, if they wasn't with one guy and you saw multiple guys coming out their house or they was coming out multiple guys' cars, pregnant 2 to 3 times on a year, that's a hoe.
You know what? I have one question. This is that. You say South Jersey. What parts of South Jersey is that, like Trenton?
It's below Trenton. Middlesex County would be Trenton. I'm in Burlington County. Burlington County is in between Mercer and Middlesex downward, and in between Camden County.
Is that the reason they go down there for? I guess it's more rural. Late, that's probably.
What you say? I didn't hear it all the way, Miss Paulette.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
I heard about Jersey as like a place that people, I guess, would go. Like, I guess,
to do camping, you say?
Yeah.
Well, this part of New Jersey is the first spot where African Americans came.
Oh.
They also called it Timbuktu.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they call it Bucktu, Timbuktu, Bucktown. So what you can do is you can go to the Burlington County Cultural and Historical Society online, and you'll post that historical information that I'm talking about. Because technically this is Burlington County, or Burlington Island was technically the first place where Africans came into America. Then they was from there, because Burlington Island was an island where they would keep stolen goods. So we know that everybody that was doing this type of trade was, considered pirates or thieves. So then they went to Burlington Island. They went to Burlington Island first, and those same 5 people or 6 people that they talk about in Maryland, they came from Burlington Island and then they got dropped off in Maryland, or Virginia, how they say.
Oh, cool.
But that's still a debate, you see. But there's a lot of historical stuff that happened in Burlington County, because this is where a lot of the elite family would coalesce and relax and retreat from Philadelphia.
Okay. Well, see now we got some history lessons too.
Yes, sweet.
It's more, but if you go and look yourself, like a lot of people live in the area and don't even go and look. Like Fifth and Independence explains everything as far as this country is concerned and how it got together. But how many people really go and look other than tourists? And even the tourists don't really look. Because I'm over there every Friday because I have to leave South Philly to teach my classes. And every now and then I stop where the African-American piece is. And I see how people just haphazardly just look through it. While I was standing there, or every time that I go there, out of all the times I've gone there, I've only had one person ask me, "Excuse me, sir, is this all true?" One person. And we had discourse, and he found out that some of it is, blasphemy.
Mhm.
Some of it is nothing more than art,
Mhm.
a representation of man's supposed expression of a time period far gone.
Mhm.
So you can meet people, but Philadelphia is where everything hits, not New York, Philadelphia.
Mhm.
And then it goes to New York for entertainment reasons and all that other good stuff.
Mhm.
But Philadelphia, your incorporation and everything else happens here first, and then go in Delaware. All of that happened in Philadelphia first.
Okay.
All of it, everything. Once you understand that, then you understand how the country was ran, to understand how, we had 7 Africanoid presidents.
Yep. They don't talk about that.
They do and they don't. They do and they don't. Because if you don't know that part there, then they don't want to talk about it because they know you don't understand. But as soon as you describe all that other stuff and then you bring up William Penn, then they fight on you. Why? Because they're going to know that you understand certain things about our area and how it came to be.
Mhm.
And if you ever come up this way again, Miss Paulette, you want to go down, and if you're in Philadelphia, you want to go to Front and Market.
Mhm.
A statue there that's very explains a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
Of a gentleman standing on a turtle
Mhm.
with an eagle on his shoulder. And they're talking about on that plaque how William Penn was called the Great White Buffalo, I believe. Yeah. William Penn, his Indian name, was, I can't enunciate it, but it was mainly them calling him the Great White Buffalo.
Mhm.
Oh.
Explorers that would come through, Verrazanas for the Verrazanas Bridge, Gotha's Bridge in New York City.
Mhm.
Verrazanas was from the Netherlands, and he made his trip here during the 1600s, and that's when the tobacco and whatchamacallit company was made.
Mhm.
That's supposed to be the Americas.
Wow.
So when Switzerland got their freedom, that's when most of all that stuff started coming this way. And another one that says that French Black people was here when you look into what they call a Wallonian. Because these were the only individuals that took contracts with Verrazanas and I believe William Penn. Most people wasn't buying into the New World idea and wanted to travel with these supposed crazy men, as they call it.
Mhm.
And they all came through the tip of Florida. That's what you find out. They all came through the tip. All adventurers that came to break the Americas came through the tip of Florida.
Isn't that something?
Yep. And that's not me saying it, Miss Paulette. That's the history, the history of the situation. And that's how it works with art, because I learned it all through art. Think about it. When you go to the Pt.2 gallery, or when they open up Fifth and Independence and you're looking at all these pictures, if you don't go down there and look, you won't see this phenomenon that I'm about to talk about. Whereas you see this little black boy with a turban on in every painting, but it's always a little black boy.
And where is
And it was never a little black boy with these situations. Those are the Moors.
The Moors, yeah.
When you look at George Washington painting, when he's crossing the Delaware supposedly, and he's got the one leg up, you see a little turban in the painting.
Well, who is
Another one, huh?
Who is painting this?
Well, they try to say that was Benjamin Bannister Tanner or Benjamin Bannister. But it's a lot of different speculations. Like they believe Benjamin Bannister is the one that's on the back of the $2 bill with the cloth over his lap.
So with the turban part comes in as a what?
A Moorish paradigm.
They come from Portugal, right?
No, they come from North Africa.
Right, North Africa. Well, yeah, somewhere. But it's heading toward Portugal.
Mauritania, all that stuff like that is in North Africa. Chad, all of that is around that area.
Right. Yeah, but okay, that's what the Portuguese used to call it. Was another. It was a name for black. That's what the name Moors came in. Their version.
Moray. That's not the only place that it came in. What I gave you was a little bit more than that. Because it lets you know that we was here before all of that. If you're gonna pay homage to those individuals while making them little boys in prolific paintings. It's not just one painting, it's several. And you only see them when it's 4th of July, when they open it up over there in 5th and Independence. They open up all the doors. You can go into all the halls, but they have all the historical paintings and stuff, and you can see it. And that's the only time you can see these paintings. Other than that, you go down to DC, they have replicas, and they have some actual ones down there. That's even more that show that they put a little black boy in a red turban. He's looking all decked out, but this is a war scene. Why is this decked out little boy in a war scene? Come to find out, it's not really a little boy. It's a metaphor.
Oh.
It's a metaphor for who? For the assistance that was given to them from Morocco. Because if you read the letters of George Washington, and I think even Lincoln, they send letters to get seed money from Morocco to help our country out. It's all there. We just don't read it. We just don't look. I took one of my cousins and he was shocked. He was like, yo, Don, you've been doing, yeah, I've been doing this every year since we moved to Philly. That's how I know what I know, because it's right here. I didn't have to read a book. They're reenacting it right here. The Jefferson event, where you go over there and they're doing all the talking like how they would do in the Constitution, in the Oval, and you know how they would scream on the floor, and they do all that reenactment.
Right. Well, you know what?
But nobody goes.
Another thing too is, if you ever wondered about the war of, was one of the wars of 1812, or the war between, well, it was one where they Tripoli and
yeah, I know about that one because I was in the Marine Corps. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles over land and over sea. Now realizing I'm singing about the conquering of me.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So Tripoli is in North Africa. I forget. I don't know if it's
right.
Same spot.
Same spot we're talking about, Morocco.
Yeah.
All in that same area.
So it's like, why was the U.S. fighting during that time, early time? Because we didn't have any investment. But then
yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah, I know now. Yeah.
Yes, we did. And we had allegiances to who? Spain, and to who? Our cousins in England.
Yeah.
That's what was going down. So then now there was a double deal that went down. See, it was a lot of, we don't have telephones and telegraphs and all that stuff back then.
Right.
So somebody sent a letter to Queen Elizabeth. Then somebody sent something to the Pope. Then the Queen of Spain sent another letter to England. Now you got 3 different people battling each other, but trying to act like they're one and the same with each other.
Right.
And this is literally what happened. And that's when the Catholic Church said it was cool to go in to make the inhabitants of this continent our slaves and pull from it the booties of war based upon Tripoli and all those other little subsidiary wars that went on around that.
And how did they have that much power over a land that wasn't theirs?
Because they double dealed and they got money from Morocco. They got seed money, borrowed money, like how we do today. They borrowed upfront money. Got that upfront money, back some of the wars they got, won the Indian American wars that they had, take that money, put it towards these other interests going towards that part of the world. Because all along, our people, our 13 colonialists, 13 families had ambitions to do what? Take over the world and take over everything. Just like all the other ones did too. Everybody wants to take over and be number one, the top of the heap. That's what it's all about.
Right.
To be the head controller of a region, of an area, of all regions, of all kingdoms.
Still going on today.
Yeah, that's somebody trying to, how would you say, put the seat of power back in America when the seat of power or the navigational magnetic pole is shifting towards the east, supposedly.
Yeah.
To say why China is supposed to have the seat of power during this time. So they say.
Right.
But when you research it, it's still the same old dilemma from way back that's still going on with each man.
Right. So true.
Yeah. So that's why we got to keep creating.
Got to keep creating. Be observant.
Yeah. Be observant, the whole nine. I can take it deeper if I start pulling. See, that's why I pulled out 2 books so you can understand real quick. You have the American Indian designs and decoration, right? But then you also have, and if you look, a close representation, you have the designs and motifs of the ancient Mexico.
Oh, pull it up. Yeah, there you go. Over to the right a little more. Other way. You're
right.
You're left. Yeah, because I'm not seeing a book. There you go. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
You see, and then you have this one here.
So
the American Indian design and decorations. If you look at some of these designs in here, there'll be pretty much relatives in here.
Yep.
So then you would have to ask yourself other questions too as well.
How did that happen?
Yep. There's another one, the African, so I can show you, look. If I show you, and if I show you the, how would you say, the Adinkran cloth and gold weight symbols, you will see similarities between the American Indian, the African. Look at the similarities.
Yeah.
See this design right here? Sorry about that. See this design right here?
Yep.
Look at that in there.
Yep.
Look at that in there.
Yeah.
See this design that's around here? That's where your Grecian design that they're using for, I forget what designer is using that motif now that comes from Greek, which really is a African tapestry design, which means several different things because it's based upon symbolism. So when I teach kids cartooning and stuff, I teach them that stuff. Because with that stuff, you understand, where a lot of ideas come from. And if you look at the photographs of the pictures, the last pictures I put up today, this morning, of the class, you can see how each one of those kids garnered something from the experience. You can see all their cartoons clear in that one picture. And you'll have a beautiful time understanding what petroglyphs are, symbolisms, and gold weights, and all of this, and how you get to just looking around you to utilize this stuff.
Right.
So I know we went over, but I don't care a lot of times when we go over because it's things that we need to share with one another nowadays.
Right.
And if we don't share them, then what are we saying?
Right.
And I'll stop there, you guys, and let's keep creating. Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep creating. If you want to, as we come to a close, if you want to learn more, discover more about what Don is up to, what he does, what his work,
just conversation.
Just go over to DonStephensArt.com.
Yep. All the contact information is on the first.
Yep. And if you're you're a Facebook member, go on over, join our group, facebook.com. Let's paint and draw along. If you're not a member, become a member. Information is in the description there as well. Most importantly, we want you to keep creating.
Yeah.
And we want you to create with us because you're part of our art fam now. Yeah. So what the last thing and the most important thing is be observant and keep creating, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. leave a comment in the comment section how you feel about the session today. Thank you so much. See you next Sunday.
Yeah,
All
buddy.
right.